Hello everyone, good evening. Let's discuss our UPSC 2023 mains questions, that is essay paper. Just now I have made a video and uploaded that on the first question, that is uh, intuition versus the first one is just now I have discussed on that concept, that is called thinking is like a game. It does not being unless there is an opposite being. So it does require an opposite team. That is the first essay that I discussed. Now I am going to discuss the second essay, that is visionary decision making is said to be a combination of both intuition as well as the so-called logic. A very beautiful quotation which requires a deep in-depth understanding. If you understand the meaning of intuition and logic and where they interact, that is the place where you get good decision making. Now where do we study normally in the UPSC this topic? In UPSC, in GS paper 4 and in GS paper 2, there is a topic called good governance, where you have one model known as a SAPTHAMRUTH model of governance. As per second Administrative Reforms Commission or second ARC, they say that a good decision is one which is a combination of both the heart and the brain. So intuition means the internal feelings of the heart, logic means brain. Hence, whenever you are making a decision, don't separate heart and brain, mix them together. So what does this mean? In GS paper 4, you are going to study it as a component of emotional intelligence. In GS paper 2, you are going to study it as a part of good governance, where you are going to bring Sevotha model of governance. What does that exactly mean? Take this example. In the year 2016, there was one incident which has happened. This was, by the way, previous year UPSC mains question in ethics. What they said? There was a girl from Jharkhand who died of starvation. Now, when her parents have went to ask for ration, the ration dealer rejected to give the ration, saying that they do not possess the mandatory documents to get the ration. Now, in this, the ration shop dealer said that I am not responsible for the death of that hungry child. The reason is I have followed the decision that was taken by the authorities and that they have given me. What is the authorities' decision that they have given me? They asked us to follow the rules. In these rules, it is very clear that unless and until you have the ration card, I cannot give you the so-called ration. So the decision which was made is out of brain. So it is the contemplation of the brain. Now, when this person has approached, they have followed only the idea of the brain, but it didn't give value to the heart. So that is the reason why that woman has died, or the why that kid has passed away in the year 2016. Why this has happened? Because at times the decisions that you are going to be taking is going to be mismatched. It doesn't have heart in it, or it will be more with heart. It will be either emotional in decision making, or either it will be exclusively rational in its thought without the relevance of the so-called heart. So this is the thing. So what does it mean? You require to make a decision making, you require one best thing, that is an overlapping component of brain as well as heart. Now UPSC asked the same question in another format in GS paper for last year. What they asked is, they gave this statement: compassion should be always present to the individuals along with the so-called objectivity. Objectivity without compassion is not going to make anything sustainable. So the decisions has to be objective, that is rational. At the same time, it has to have a human element in it. Then that decisions are going to be visionary. Now, how exactly is it? Have an analysis. Let me please allow me to share the screen. I will make it clear on how to analyze this concept in depth. That will make you very clear about this topic, and you will analyze the beauty of this statement by the end of this topic. By the way, these are the types of questions that UPSC is asking very frequently. So this is the second one in the lecture, that is visionary decision making happens at an intersection of intuition, that is feelings. Feelings is related to heart, logic is related to brain. Hence, along with the reason, people should have compassion. Then only you will be making good decision making. This is the question. So look at the diagram that I have chosen. So a good decision making should be balanced with the heart as well as with the brain. This is the answer. Good decision making, a visionary decision making. A decision is going to be visionary if it is balancing both the heart as well as brain, which means emotionally you have to be intelligent. In other way, this is speaking about emotional intelligence. This is the thing that you have to understand. Visionary decision making happens at the intersection of intuition and logic. Now, why this is present? Take for example the sudden demonetization that Government of India has taken. Sudden demonetization has taken by giving much priority to the so-called brain that it is going to get the entire black money into the country. But it lost the human touch. That is called, it lost the element of the sufferings of the poor. Look at the sudden COVID implementation or COVID lockdown implementation. Majority of that things has outgained. That is, the brain has outgained over the so-called heart. Look at the farmer laws that Government of India introduced. Look at the so-called Citizenship Amendment Act that Government of India has introduced. There, your brain has taken a step ahead by leaving the mentality of the hearts aside. That is the reason why that won't appear to be a visionary decision making. So what are the keywords here? The keywords here is visionary decision making. What exactly do you mean by visionary decision making, or what are the characteristics of a decision which is with the vision? That you have to understand, first thing. Second thing is intuition. You should know English meaning of intuition and logic. Intuition means sixth sense, sudden feelings of the heart. Logic means brain. So intersection of this is a place where brain and heart meets. That is the intersection. So two things is visionary decision making and intersection. So what are the synonyms of visionary decision making, guys? Visionary decision making synonyms is decision will be very empathetic in nature. Decisions will be very futuristic in nature. Decisions will be very pragmatic in nature. Decisions will be very inclusive in nature. Decisions will be very rational in nature. Decisions will be very effective in nature. Decisions will always look at the welfare objective. So this is the characteristics of a good decision. What are, from where I have taken all this, these are said by second ARC in good public policy making. What are the major elements required for good policy making? The major elements that are required for a policy making is your policy has to be having certain vision, it has to be dynamic, it has to be flexible, it has to be futuristic in nature, it has to observe the challenges, it has to be very effective in nature. This is all second ARC has said this. So second ARC has given this in the form of good policy making, a SAPTHAMRUTH model of governance. So this is good decision making. Now why it requires an intersection of intuition as well as logic. So heart and brain interaction is the process of intuition. This is the place where good decisions are made. That is the thing that you have to understand. So this is, after understanding this quotation, let's try to understand what is the introduction short for this. You can write a beautiful introduction that you have studied regularly. Every day you'll be knowing it, everyone. Take for example, Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, Karupani. This policy was highly successful in India, which was introduced in the year 2005. Today we are in 2023. For the past 18 years, we are following this, which means this is a good decision making. Now, Dr. Manmohan Singh in the year 2004 has introduced this Mahatma Gandhi National Rural Employment Guarantee Act, which provides the so-called right to employment for all the rural population in order to save the population from the so-called lack of employment during the times of summer season, in order to overcome the seasonal unemployment that is going to rise in the rural areas. Dr. Manmohan Singh has given a solution for this in the form of MGNREGA. Now, this policy of MGNREGA is a combination of logic as well as intuition. Why intuition? Because by looking at the sufferings of the so-called the rural population who are migrating during the times of summer, by looking at the so-called the lack of employment opportunities, by looking at the sufferings of the rural population, rural masses, Dr. Manmohan Singh has given a solution. What is that solution? He wanted to create a job for these people. As a result, we can stop this migration from the villages. So this is out of some empathetic gesture which is having that intuition. That intuition is the feeling to do something good for these people. Now it was coupled with the logic. What is the logic? The logic is give them only during the times of summer, because in winter they will have the jobs in the form of some work. In the monsoons they will have the form of work. So logic is give them during the times of summer, so that you will retain the rural masses inside the villages. As a result, labor will be present even for the monsoon season. So it is a combination of logic as well as intuition. Now that decision is reflected in the form of visionary decision. As a result, MGNREGA is that a successful scheme. This is a best example that you can write, or take any example where government has introduced something which is very successful. So your introduction short can be with this MGNREGA, a simple example that you are seeing. MGNREGA is a result, is a decision that has huge impact on the rural lives. It is a very visionary statement or visionary program that Government of India has launched. The success of this program is in the combination of intuition as well as logic. That is the thing that you can start. Now, what will be your body of the essay? Look at this. Let's start historically. A very beautiful leader was there in the history who has combined intuition as well as logic to make his kingdom very successful. That is Shivaji. Why Shivaji was that much successful? Shivaji was successful because as an administrator, he always ensured that people are part of his administrative system. The gods for the force of Shivaji is the common man. He trusted the people. As he has trusted the people, he developed developed bond with the people. Hence, there was some policy making with the people. That is a very strong intuitive principle. At the same time, the logic that he applied is this is the people who are going to protect themselves when we are going for wars. As a result, Shivaji was that much successful. Why Shivaji was successful? Because he was an able administrator. At the same time, he has used the facilities of the common man, the feelings of the common man to protect the country altogether. As a result, that was success. Hence, the vision of Shivaji lies there. So you can write one paragraph about it. Take, for example, a family system. In India, you have one structure that is called savings for the future. Look at the 2007 global financial crisis. It is India which has come out first from this crisis way back in the year 2013 or 2014. Some other countries like US, Europe, they have taken until 2017. Now, why could India, or why India was able to come out of this global financial crisis at an early stage? This is because of the saving nature of the Indians. Now, why Indians save this? Because they have an intuitive feeling to give it to the family, to give it to their children. The love that they had, the feeling that they had is that intuitive feeling. At the same time, when I save it for the people, that is going to help them at a future date. So it is a combination. The savings that the individual families will do is a combination of intuition as well as logic. That is why Indian family system is continuing. Look at the beauty of that system. Third thing, geographically, look at that. In Manipur, you will have, in Meghalaya, you have living roots, living bridges. Now, on one side, you are having a deep affinity towards the so-called nature. On the other side, you have the reason for protecting the nature. As a result, the living bridges of Manipur are very beautiful. That can be visible in geographical context. Politically, look at public policy making. Everything that I have discussed is public policy making. Citizen-centric governance is an answer for good governance. What is citizen-centric governance? Your governance is going to be very inclusive if you are going to add a combination of intuition and logic. Right? So, for example, if you want to make this successful, what is this? Vaccination hesitancy is present with the people. If you want to overcome that vaccination hesitancy, what is it required? You have to touch the emotional aspect of the human beings, that their lives of the people and relatives or their closer ones will be saved. At the same time, it is going to have some reason, that is because of giving these vaccines, majority of the sections is going to be saved. Like that, you can persuade. So persuasion requires this intuition and logic. So governance becomes successful. Look at international relations. A combination of intuition and logic is always going to help. For example, look at the concept that India has done through the concept of vaccination Maitri. India has extended the so-called vaccination to the developing countries of the world like South Africa or African nations as well as Sri Lanka in the form of the so-called aid when Sri Lanka was facing crisis. Soft power is a combination of intuition and logic. Why intuition? I wanted to help because Indian ethos is to help. At the same time, it has a strong reason, that is it will act as a powerful thing to gain India's momentum in the global south. In terms of economy, look at the so-called the developing systems in the form of food processing industry, self-reliance of the country. Now, Atma Nirbhar Bharat, it is combination of both intuition as well as logic. The intuition is to protect the domestic workers or domestic industries. At the same time, it has a logic that it will come down or it will replace import substitution. It is going for import substitution. So on one side, import bill is going to reduce. On the other side, it has a strong affinity towards the domestic producers. Hence, economy, good visionary decision making involves this type of things. For example, look at the priority sector. Look at this thing called performance-based incentives, PLI schemes of Government of India, production-linked incentives. That is a result of this thing. So in the science and technology, look at space sector. Why Indian space sector was developed? Why we have developed space sector to such an extent? Because as per Vikram Sarabhai, the major objective of the space program has to be for the welfare of the public. So there is some strong affinity for the welfare of the public. As a result, as you are protecting the lives of the people, as space sector is contributing for the people. On the other hand, it is also gaining us some momentum in the form of commercial launches of some vehicle, and we are going to get revenue. So this is a combination of logic and intuition. Security. Look at the concept how Maoism was tackled. Maoism is tackled because you have won the hearts of the local tribes. As a result, tribes started falling towards the government, or they came towards the government. At the same time, they used a logic that is called, in order to fight these fellows, you have to go with the law and order is the logic. What is the intuition here? Winning the hearts of the local population. So it is a combination of these two factors, that is law and order plus hearts, that has come out with a good visionary document of overcoming Maoism in India. And ethics, emotional intelligence is a combination of it. What is emotional intelligence? It is a combination of ethics, as it is a combination of intelligence as well as your emotions. So in these dimensions you can write it. Hence this question is speaking about that's the common area of intuition as well as logic. So this is speaking about look at this intersection component, then you are going to come. So again, go with the systematic analysis, then you will understand what exactly is it. So one of the beautiful articles to write and one of the beautiful things that you will have the subject on is this one. Right, this is how you have to write it. Thanks for joining, guys. Look for the third video very soon, or the third essay very soon. We'll meet you. Have a great day.